I came into the world, two completely polar opposites in terms of color and background and culture and nuances and everything. Maybe that is a part that I play as a purpose, is I'm a bridge between those two worlds by my very existence. And so it means everything to me to be able to work with somebody like Pete and to have these deep conversations, because I want to bridge that together with the people that I'm in the trenches with and what I'm feeling.
People that don't want to hear the story and want to turn away from it, it's in white folks that do that, for sure, they're doing it because they don't want to have to be confronted with it. They don't want to have to deal with it. They would rather not. And for years and years and years, we've pushed things away and we've let things happen, and we've let issues fester in so many different parts of our lives that we're just good at that. And so the frustrating part for somebody to not feel the empathy and not feel the understanding or the care that's the moment or the opportunity calls for, that's been the way, and that is what that is. Is it denial? I don't want to face it, and so
I think denial is one word for it, right? I mean, there is a emotion regulation strategy that we've all used, sometimes actually for good purposes, but perhaps in the current circumstances, you could argue like it's not a great strategy to use. And that is sometimes called attention deployment. Basically, you look away from things that are causing you anger or sadness or pain. That can be adaptive, right? Like you don't want people to ruminate about things in a really unproductive, unhelpful way. If they're, for example, spinning into depression. So there's a good reason why quite literally every single person that we know, including ourselves, has at some point averted our eyes, to not see something that we didn't want to see. And actually, Audrey, when you say like, I mean, I'm not making any assumptions about like, why you would choose not to watch the George Floyd video. But for myself, I feel like if I see it, I can't unsee it. And I don't know, maybe I don't have the courage. I don't know. But what I'm using is attention deployment as an emotion regulation strategy. Now, again, is that good or bad? It depends. But I think in this case, I think what some people might be doing is saying like, hey, to be criticized in this way, to, be considered to be partly part of the problem, like it's going to be a better day for me if I avert my eyes and I don't think about what Audrey is saying or what other people are saying. I'm going to unfollow her and not be put through this, immediate pain, as it were. I know, relatively speaking, you could say like, come on, relative to what the actual problem is, like the pain of you being on the social media account is tiny. But just in the short term, people can do that. And I think the major problem with using attention deployment, averting your gaze, denial, whatever you want to call it, is that in the long term, you never learn, right? And that is the major problem with things like denial or avoidance, is that you never actually get smarter about the thing that you were ignoring selectively.
Yeah, and that is, it's so common. This is such a common occurrence. It's a common occurrence for white folks without question, and I'm sure there are in many other areas of our lives as well. But it's just the lack of willingness to go there.
What's your experience been, Pete? Because like people, I knew people always known, I think, that you cared somewhat about these issues, but it sounds to me from our conversations that you are caring a whole lot. You're putting it front and center in front of every other priority you have. Do people think you've gone crazy, or are they kind of like standing up and cheering? Like, what's been the response?
I don't know. I've been on topic for a long time, for really, we're talking 20 years, and so it's not that it hasn't been topical or extremely important, but as you stated it, I heard myself respond to that. I have even a heightened awareness that I'm disappointed that that's what I had to realize to get me to where I am, because I thought I was already I thought I was all in.